It's been an interesting year. I've learnt a lot this year, if I'm honest with you, and different things. From, you know, as an assistant, you're managing the players only.
Yes.
But now, what I've recognised, you're not only managing the players, you're managing up. Newcastle's been not only football, adapting to football here and the A-League, because it is completely different. Lifestyle as well is completely different.
Yeah.
My impression of this place initially was to change it overnight, but then the reality is that can't happen. So by prioritising what you can change and empowering the players and staff, that can go a long way. So I really focused on that initially. You know, it was weird. I didn't even think I wanted to be a coach at that point because I hadn't hit the ceiling from the sports science perspective. So I was still learning that side of the game. Gradually getting closer and closer to it, you get sort of ideas of, okay, I'm hitting the ceiling now from sports science in your own mentality. Maybe I'll venture into another avenue and combine the two. It's pretty clear in my mind, whatever I do say I've thought about first. So there's a strategy behind it, and if it is going to be a bit heated, it's discussed before, possibly with that person. And there's a clear understanding of my message and what it is, so it can't be portrayed differently. So how you're perceived is not generally how you are. Through comments, you can come across as arrogant, rude, dismissive, or, you know, internally, you've got a plan. My expectations aren't just winning the league, it's to further the club and become sustainable. And to do that, you need the right profile to do that. So the standards need to improve from a performance perspective, from a tactical perspective, to how you perceive and how you live your life away from football. I felt it was in limbo, and people may have been taking their career in the A-League for granted, but I always turn around and think, okay, what direction have they had? What direction do they need? So sometimes if a player's behaving that way, it's based upon the leadership they've had and internally how they've been motivated. So I turn it around and think, okay, we need to stimulate these players now. This is our job. We need to define their jobs here and responsibility to it. So to start very well was pleasing because people go, hang on a minute, who are these guys? But ultimately I've always said to the playing group, don't be fearful of the expectation because you created it. And they did do that. With three out of 4 wins, you can't now step away from that expectation. You created it. So embrace it, take confidence from it, and now we must move on. So what we're doing here is we're basically second day recovery. Little 6v2 boxes here. This is for them, it's a day for them essentially with a short turnaround. If I gave them today off, for example, match day -2, I haven't seen them the day before and it's a tactical day. So I'm asking for high concentration levels, pre-match video, tactics, and then we go and implement it. And especially after a win, in the sense of the way the dynamics changed in the last fortnight, keep them together.
It would be a temptation, definitely, I can understand that.
So keep them together and then...
Good, it's going well, keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, you've already got your position working here.
Yeah, so... where you might be. So our wide strikers will play on the pocket, so it's combination play, 3 or 4 passes high and wide as early as possible, transfer play. So. Just going to clarify one thing. I might be standing over here, but this man's in charge. Got it? It's called discipline, gentlemen. That's the result you got on the weekend based upon that. You know, I wouldn't say I was overly confident going into Melbourne City, but I had an inkling that we would perform that day anyway because I looked at their midfield balance and I saw the changes and I ascertained that if they do play that 3-5-2, we'll have a big chance. And we identified their weaknesses and we executed it. So the players took the information on and rewarded themselves, and that's the most pleasing. That was like, that second goal was like training ground, attacking pattern, playing out from back. Expose the space in behind their wide fullback, gone, see ya.
In behind Zolo, squares it up to That could do it for Newcastle.
So this is our marquee, by the way.
Yeah.
That's our marquee player.
That's your marquee,
So we don't have a marquee, but we've got a marquee from Beechwood Homes. So that's a running joke within the group. We quite like it. Provides a bit of banter for the group. The whole ethos is simple. Your environment, you take care of it, you look after it. I said that to them before Adelaide. I said, this is your dressing room. Your dressing room. And if they manage it, there's no reason why we can't do something special. But it comes down to consistency and discipline. I'd like to say I've been quite steady in terms of my own sort of character around the team. Slowly and steadily I've sort of empowered them more with more responsibility, like simple things, delivering the review, delivering the set pieces. So I think it's very much an educational thing here. I just feel that if we're going to make that next step, it has to be based upon education and team understanding. When you start to hear your players sounding a bit like you in the media with their messages, you think, okay, you can say it, you understand it. Say it repeatedly, you understand it more. So we're getting to that stage now. It's not player-led, it's player-led but managed by us and empowered to them. All right, on you go. I think it's going to be an interesting game. We drew at home against them, and if I think back to that day, we debuted young Braden Crowley as a starter, attacking in the first 3 to 5 minutes that will change the outcome of the game. So we're not fearful of them. What I demand, I tend to look at the opposition directly, tactically, and set our team up how we can break them down, simplify their minds, and really put a purpose to the plan and go and execute it, because you can't be fearful of anyone in this league because it changes every week.